distinguished guests, dear colleagues, good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to the Russia-China Young Scientist Forum. I'm Untitled Chapter, Deputy Director of the International Cooperation Bureau of National Natural Science Foundation of China. I'm very pleased to co-chair this forum with Professor Alexander Ponovitsky, the Deputy Chairman of the IFBR Expert Council on International Calls, again, to have so many excellent young scientists today. Please allow me to express my warm welcome and sincere gratitude to all of you. Before the scientific report today, I would like to invite Professor Maria Bektishieva, the Deputy Head of International Relations Department, FBR, and the Director General of the Bureau of International Cooperation of National Natural Science Foundation of China, Professor Zhou Liyao, to give us presentations on NSFC and IFBR cooperations and funding opportunities. First, let's welcome Professor Maria Bektishieva. Please.
You are muted.
Ты что? Да, работает. Сейчас.
Okay. Good morning, dear colleagues from Russia. Good afternoon, dear colleagues from China. We have quite short of time, so I will try to make this very fast. Okay. Russian Foundation for Basic Research is an oldest funding science organization in Russia. It was founded by President's decree in April 1992. It has a unique status. It is a self-governing, non-profit state organization. We support projects in all scientific fields, in both natural and social sciences. All projects which we select in a competitive basis. We use world standard multi-stage assessment system. Our budget continues to rise every year. This year budget is more than 21 billion rubles. For 29 years of our existence, we supported more than 200,000 scientific projects and more than 300,000 Russian scientists. On the right side, you can see our structure. Now our permanent staff is 200 employees, and in our international team work only 8 people. Here you can see areas of research which we support, as well as expert councils. For each area, we have expert council. Apart from this expert council in different scientific fields, we also have separate expert council for international programs, for regional programs, for youth different programs, and for publishing programs. We have a huge pool of experts with whom we work in an electronic system. More than 5,000 of them have PhD, and more than 100 of them are members of the Russian Academy of Sciences. Here you can see different styles of our international cooperation. We have bilateral programs as well as multilateral programs. Every year, we announce more than 35 international calls. We have 7 multilateral programs. Only last year, we launched 4 international calls devoted to COVID-19. Every year, we fund more than 1,000 international programs. Average grant is more than 2 million rubles. Here you can see principles of international cooperation. First of all, Russian Foundation for Basic Research funds only basic research. We try to fund all projects with our partner organizations on parity basis. For each project, for each proposal, for each report, we prepare 2-3 peer reviews. And usually each site prepares these peer reviews. We have clear joint criteria of evaluation, rules and procedures, which we publish beforehand in our announcements. In principle, each organization supports its national team of joint project. Main outcome of joint project is joint publication. Such meetings as this one are crucial for our program's evaluation. Here you can see a map of our international collaboration. Now we have a memorandum for understanding with more than 40 countries, and in many countries we have several partners. And China is one of such countries with whom we have agreements with 4 different partners. What we would like to mention that National Natural Science Foundation of China is our first international partner. Here you can see figures, and you can see that National Natural Science Foundation is also our biggest international partner. We have established during all these years different forms of cooperation, basically all forms of cooperation which Russian Foundation of Basic Research uses. We have joint workshops, bilateral projects, multidisciplinary bilateral projects. We participate together in different multilateral programs, and we also work jointly actively in science diplomacy. Speaking about our activities, together we supported more than 50 workshops since 2006. Since 1996, we supported more than 1,000 projects out of more than 3,000 proposals in framework of 22 calls in all fields of natural sciences. Since 2014, we started to launch thematical multidisciplinary programs, and we already launched 3 successful calls. And we supported 25 projects from out of more than 80 proposals. Speaking about multilateral cooperation, together with National Natural Science Foundation, we founded more than 40 projects in framework of BRICS. Here you can see a slide about our BRICS cooperation. Russian Foundation for Basic Research acts as secretariat of this important multilateral program. There are 5 countries which participate in this program, and there are several representatives from Russia, and there are 2 organizations from China. In framework of 4 thematic calls, which we launched since 2016, we funded together 40 joint projects, and 69 projects were supported by РФФИ only. Last year, as a response to COVID-19, we launched specific thematical calls, and out of 10 projects which we supported, 6 projects are supported jointly with our colleagues from National Natural Science Foundation. So you can see that our cooperation is really very varied. It's really diverse. We organize different joint events. On this slide, you can see our chairmen signing agreements in Beijing, holding meetings in Moscow, holding previous Jubilee event in Vladivostok 5 years ago. One of our different activities is science diplomacy, and we try to participate in different events which are organized by one of our sites. Here you can see our chairman who participated in Belt and Road event, which was organized by National Natural Science Foundation in July 2017 in Beijing. And this slide is a meeting of Global Research Council, which was organized in Moscow in 2018. So thank you very much for your attention. We hope that we will have more interesting projects in future, and have a nice day.
Thank you, Professor Tishava, for your speech and your high praise of our cooperation. You have introduced our collaborative mechanism clearly for all the participants today. I believe with our joint efforts and dedications, our collaboration will enjoy a bright future. Now, may I welcome Professor Zhou Liyao to give us a speech.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. for your introduction. And I'm very impressed by the presentation given by Maria as for the RFBR's endeavor in bridging the researchers from Russia and China as well, and something even beyond that. And I'm truly impressed. Well, would you please turn on the PowerPoint file so that we can share the screen with our Russia colleagues?
Excuse me, could you please allow us share our screen?
Yes, I do have a few slides to share with you. So would you please turn my PowerPoint slides on the screen? Okay, thank you. Okay, here it is. 翻到下一页，那个谁。Okay, here is what I want to share with you. Very quick glance at NSFC, and then we have a look at NSFC international collaboration mechanism, and in particular, the last part of it is that NSFC cooperation with Russia, mainly with RFBI. So right here, I listed some the basic concept and the fact sheet of NSFC, and the mission and funding area, and also the budget. And compared to RFBI, NSFC's funding spectrum is rather narrow because we do not include some disciplines like politics and sociology, art, history, and so on. We found only natural science and engineering, health sciences, and some other interdisciplinary sciences. And in fact, NSFC has turned to be one of the most important resource for basic research in China. And like RFBR, NSFC in fact receive increased budget annually in the past few years, and it is very good to see that happening for so many years, because that means that the science communities will receive more resources for their research activity. So next one, please. Here is the NSFC's globalization, and we have signed not nearly 100 cooperative agreements with partners all around the world, 50 countries and 51 countries and regions. And we are very proud that RFBI has been one of the important partners of NSFC in the past nearly 25 years. So as for the funding instrument, NSFC does have a range of mechanisms to drive internationalization for Chinese researchers. And we have three basic type of international program. The first one is a non-MOU based, what we call the International Joint Research Program, and the second is for international scientists. And more importantly, we have a number of agreements or MOU-based cooperation and exchange program. In fact, the one that we have established with RFBI for the past 25 years, it just comes from this kind of program, which include a joint research program, a mobility, and workshops. So may I move to the next slide, please? And in fact, this figure shows that the main mechanism or funding instrument that NSFC has set for science community for researchers to choose from. And we have established a very close tie with RFBI because we really have launched a number of solicitations in the past 25 years, either umbrella of bilateral cooperation or a multilateral cooperation like BRICS. And RSF is another Russia partners that NSFC has set in the past few years. But compared to RFBI, it sees a rather lower amount of funding. So next one, please. Like right here, I show you that for the exchange program that we co-founded with the RFBR, and the left, the bar refers to the number of proposals that we received. The blue bar illustrates the granted. So the curve represents the success rate, and perhaps you find that the success rate keeps decreasing, which means that we received more proposals from both sides. But because of limited funding, that we have to lower the number of the grants. The right side illustrates that the amount of funding, and it's good to see that the average funding keep increasing starting from the year of 2017. So that is a very good news for any researchers who joined the competition and who got granted from NSFC and RFBR. Let's move to the next one. Okay, thank you. And this is the joint research program. This is very important because this kind of program receives more fundings from both sides. Taking example of year 2020, fiscal year 2020, for the theme of COVID-19, and we together with RFBI, we supported 5 projects. 5 projects were granted, and NSFC supported 1.5 million RMB, while RFBR invested 7.5 million rubles. Next one, please. Okay, here is the multilateral collaboration and BRICS Science and Technology Innovation Framework, and this is also in very important platform which we, together with RFBR and other science funding agencies, work together to support the researchers from different countries on common interest. And I think Maria just mentioned that since 2016, and we work closely with RFBI and co-founded 40 projects by NSFC and RFBR under the umbrella of BRICS. So in fact, we could have such conclusion that together with RFBI, we established not only bilateral relationship, and also we have in fact joined the multilateral platform. So all of this is for nothing but for the scientists from both sides. And so here is what I want to share with you, which perhaps is rather brief and short. If you any participant who are interested in more information about the solicitation, the competition, etc., please come to us, and we will try our best to deliver better service for you all. So thank you so much for your listening. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Zhou. I'm very impressive for your presentations about bilateral and multilateral cooperations between the two main funding agencies. Professor Tonovitsky,
Okay, I'm
the floor
here.
is yours.
Yeah. Okay, I'm here. Thank you very much. Now I'm happy to open the first session devoted to young scientist presentation, jointly supported of both our agency. And the first speaker will be Vladislav Zadorozhny from National University of Science and Technology, MISIS, and his colleague Zhang King Wang from Nanyangbu Institute of Material Technology and Engineering, Chinese Academy of Science. Vladislav, please, 8 minutes, 4 and 4 for both of you.
Okay. Good morning to Russian friends and good afternoon to Chinese friends. I'm Junqiang Wang from Ningbo Institute of Materials Technology and Engineering. This talk will be delivered by me and my friend Vladislav Zadorozhny. And we are very happy to introduce our results about the metallic glass and polymer composite materials. Our joint project was sponsored in 2018, but our collaboration can be dated back to 11 years ago when we were postdocs in Japan, in Tokyo University. And my research interest focused on the functional properties of metallic glasses. And he's interested in the functional properties of alloys and metallic composites. During we were sponsored by this joint project, we have visited each other in 2018 November and 2019 November, and we have exchanged our ideas and progress and discussed about the future collaboration. Our joint project is to develop some biodegradable implants. We know when the bone is broken, we need some implant to help it recover. But the conventional implants usually require additional surgery after the bone is healed. We want to develop some degradable implant that can avoid the additional surgery. But for biomaterials, we would like to use some materials with high strength and comparable modulars to the bones. So in the diagram, we can see the bulk metallic glasses, especially the magnesium and calcium bulk metallic glasses, have high strength, high elasticity, and the electric modulars is very close to the bones. So in the past, we have developed some new materials based on the magnesium, zinc, calcium, yttrium, metallic glasses, and they exhibit very high mechanical properties. Like the yield strength can reach 500 megapascal, which is comparable to the conventional steels. And it can be bended by 180 degrees. And the indirect cell test also suggests they have good cell compatibility, especially when the yttrium concentration is high enough. But such metallic glasses are usually very small. They are limited to the ribbons like the picture in the middle, or the fibers or powders. So we want to develop some large samples. So we propose to fabricate some the metallic glass and polymer composite, because both materials have super-cooled liquid region. In this temperature range, we can mix them homogeneously using the ball milling method. And then we can compact them into large samples using the spark plasma sintering method. So the next slides will be introduced by my friend Vladislav. Thank you.
Yeah, now.
Hello, Will.
Our part.
Okay, hello everyone, my name is Vladislav Zadorozhny. I would like to kindly thank the organization of this meeting and the invitation of us to present our presentation. And I would like to kindly thank my friends, Professor Wang, for the introduction of us and to beginning of our talk. And I would like to continue with our results of our work. The main idea was to prepare composite materials, and we try to investigate a lot of alloys and a lot of composition, but now I would like to talk about the most interesting results It was based on composite materials, so based on magnesium-based metallic glass and polycaprolactone polymer. Both of the materials are biodegradable. And we tried to realize the idea to obtain samples using TG and TX region of metallic glass, it's supercooled liquid region, and above TG temperature of the polymer. In this, for both materials, TG temperature is similar for metallic glass and for polycaprolactone polymer, and that has been that we try to obtain materials, mixing it by ball milling or extrusion in the above the TG region of both materials. And we obtain composite materials. If you see XRD patterns, it has amorphous structure correspond to metallic glass and semi-crystalline structure correspond to the polymer polycaprolactone. And if you see scanning electron microscopy images, we obtained some very strong interface interaction between these two different materials. For example, you can see some bonding formation between the metallic glass particles and polymer matrix, and it's helped us to increase mechanical properties and physical properties. For example, thermal diffusivity and conductivity of the composite materials is higher than has polymer materials, but little lower than has metallic glass materials, but it's normal for such kind of composites. And as for the composite samples, you can see here we obtained by extrusion some ribbon samples materials. It's very good, was very good for the tensile test investigation, and also we obtained some by compression some disc materials, composite disc. We provided in vivo and in vitro test. In vitro test showed that magnesium-based metallic glass is very good for bioapplication, has a good biocompatibility, but in vivo tests show that the metallic glass samples cause the abscess in the implantation zone. It means the reaction of the degradation is very fast, and it's not, the implantation was very negative. But in case of the composite materials, the in vivo tests show that the composite sample stayed in the implantation zone, maintained its shape, and did not cause inflammation. And we try to understand why the poor magnesium cause very negative reaction, and found that after implantation of the poor magnesium alloys, in the surrounding tissue take part formation of the gas bubbles after implantation, and it's caused very high reaction with these materials with the surrounding tissue and very negative effects. It means that poor magnesium-based alloys is not very have a good biocompatibility, but in case of composite, it exhibits good biocompatibility and without any problem after implantation. And we think that these materials has a promising future for further investigation, like bioapplication materials, for example, for face surgery, for pediatric surgery. It's like materials with good biocompatibility and good biodegradation properties. And during our project investigation, we published maybe around 5 or 6 papers together, and more than maybe 10 papers in a separate way, but in the same area, so scientific area, and got some honors and so on. And I would like to kindly thank Chinese Foundation and Russian Foundation for basic research to give us opportunity to collaborate together. And thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, for both of you. And the next speakers are Renat Sibatov from Ulyanovsk State University and Hong Guang-san from Hahai University. And also they split this presentation. Renat?
Yes.
You start. 4 minutes, please.
Thank you very much. Please, could you show my presentation? Oh, okay, thank you very much. You can see the title of our project. It was aimed at developing fractional calculus models of anomalous diffusion in porous and grain boundary media. We planned to include the main physical mechanisms leading to non-Fickian diffusion and ergodicity breaking, to develop algorithms for solving inverse problems, to determine the parameters of the fractional differential equations for these media. Please, next slide. Next slide, please. Excuse me, could you show next slide, please? Okay, let's wait. Okay, the second slide contains a plan of our short presentation. I will say several words about our collaboration, research progress, and future work. Okay, there is some problem.
У нас проблемы, у них.
В МИСИС должны презентацию запускать были. Yes, yes, thank you very much. Okay. Next slide, please. Okay, joint scientific seminars were held. These seminars led to fruitful discussions and exchange of ideas and opinions, and further interesting and important results were obtained, which were published in high-impact journals. Particularly, the grain boundary diffusion model is generalized to the case of subdiffusive transport of particles at boundaries and in grains. The model was applied to description of charging, discharging of different power sources, particularly lithium-ion batteries. Next slide, please. A new class of the temperate fractional stable statistics is introduced as a generalization of the Levy-stable distributions and fractional stable limit laws. The new class of statistics allowed us to describe the transition regions between subdiffusion, superdiffusion, and normal diffusion in different sequences. Using the new statistics, the modes of weak scattering and the sequential incoherent tunneling in quasi-fractal wires were investigated. The considered quantum systems are homogeneous on large scales and fractal on intermediate ones. Next slide, please. The approach based on fractional advection diffusion equations provides an effective and meaningful tool to describe the dispersive transport of charge carriers in disordered semiconductors. We studied the generalized Fick laws containing different forms of fractional time operators with singular and non-singular kernels, and find out features of the time of flight transient currents that can indicate the presence of such fractional dynamics in organic semiconductors, polymer bulk heterojunctions, and perovskite solar cells, etc. The Sherman-Troll model of photocurrents in homogeneously disordered semiconductors was generalized to the case of fractal spatial disorder. These results can be used for description of transport in organic nanocomposites. Next slide, please. Several new algorithms were proposed and investigated for numerical solutions of equations with fractional derivatives and for determining the source function of the initial conditions or the initial conditions of the mass transfer problem from experimentally measured characteristics. Another physical problem, bed load transport along widely graded river beds. This process typically exhibits anomalous dynamics, and we used a continuous time random walk model to characterize bed load particles motion in cluster microforms built in the laboratory of our partners. Now I want to give the floor to my colleague who will share other results of our research. Thank you very much.
And
please, Hongguang.
Okay, thank you. So I will continue our presentation. So in the CTRW models, we use multilevel distribution for the waiting time distribution and for the Levy alpha stable distribution for the jump size. So in our experiment, we have examined our models by using the particle size for 1 millimeters, 3 millimeters, and 7 millimeters. Our numerical result have clearly shown the CTRW models can accurately describe sediment transport process. Based on our previous work, one considered different waiting time distributions to describe the payload transport behavior under different conditions. Okay, so here we use truncated parallel in the waiting time distribution to capture the transition between the subdiffusion to normal diffusion and also super diffusion to normal diffusion. So from physics, it corresponds to the sediment transport between the mobile and the immobile state. To explore the physical mechanism of subdiffusive payload transport, we first use mass spring sample system to generate the heterogeneous bite structure. Then we use totally random walk model to simulate the sediment particle motions in heterogeneous by the river bed structure. Our numerical results have shown that the artificial structure we generated is consistent with the observation of experiment. Also, the random walk models, the results have shown clearly subdiffusion behavior. So it verifies that the heterogeneous structure of river bed is the main reason for subdiffusion process. So generally speaking, the objective of this project has successfully completed. In our future research, we want to establish multi-scale models and further develop a fast algorithm for anomalous diffusion in complex media. Okay, thank you. That's all.
Thank you very much. And our next speakers are Anton Anjulevich from Chelyabinsk State University and Zhivel Peng from Central South University. Please.
Okay, we agreed that Ziwei will start the presentation. So, Ziwei.
Okay. Thank you for the introduction. I'm Ziwei Peng from Central South University. It's our very great pleasure to give this presentation. Next slide, please. Our program was focused on the cupping mechanism of electrodynamics and thermochemistry in microwave heating of layered biochar bearing panels. It's a 2-year program. Our aim was to investigate the interaction between microwave and layered biochar bearing panels for efficient production of directly reduced iron. We will also call it DRI for steel making. The 2 PIs are myself and also Professor Anton Anjulevich from Chelyabinsk State University. Next slide, please. Central South University is a university located in the south part of China. It's also a conventional and national key university. Next slide, please. Right now, we are in the School of Minerals Processing and Bioengineering of Central South University. We have 2 majors, minerals engineering and also metallurgical engineering. They are now ranked first and second in the world according to the 2021 Shanghai rankings. Next, please.
Okay, let me continue. Here's the introduction of Chelyabinsk State University. It is located in Chelyabinsk, and it is the first university in the South Urals that provides classical education. It is included in the first league of national aggregated ranking of Russian universities, ranks 40th place in the ranking of the best universities in Russia, and 52nd place in the citation rating in the Scopus database. The main building of our university is presented on the picture. Next slide. This part of about physics faculty of Chelyabinsk State University. It is the leading one in the South Urals. It consists of 12 laboratories, 4 departments, 33 PhDs, and 17 doctorals of physical and mathematical sciences are working here. Our faculty has about 15 projects supported by Russian Foundation for Basic Research per year. And next slide. Okay. During collaboration, we performed several bilateral exchanges, so that in May 2018, Chelyabinsk team, consisting of Anton Anzulevich, Igor Bychkov, and Dmitry Kolganov, visited Central South University in Chensha for a week. I presented their intermediate results of Russian team, and we agreed on directions for further research. And thank you, Zivei, for invitation and good time spent in Chensha.
Okay.
Next.
Thank you. Okay, actually, we visit Chelyabinsk State University 2 times in 2018 and 2019. We had a very good time there and gave 2 lectures there. Next slide, please. Next, please. Okay, our research collaborations were actually based on the development of long blast furnace iron making technologies, including direct reduced iron process. We call it DRI. This process can produce solid iron as a burden for direct steel making. In our research, we actually used the microwave to take advantage of this volumetric and selective heating effect. We also use the biochar instead of traditional coke and coal to take advantage of the biochar's carbon polarity, low impurity, and high fixed carbon. Next, please. The first step was to design the iron ore biochar composite pellet for improving microwave absorption and microwave reduction performance. Our design was based on the impedance matching. In other words, we designed our pellets, including 2 different layers, the impedance matching shell and also the strong reduction core. Next, please. This slide shows the experimental procedures. In our experiment, we basically had 2 different steps, namely pelletizing and also microwave reduction. We used the microwave furnace to make the reaction take place. Next slide, please. We actually made a comparison between a reduction of different structures pellets by microwave radiation and also conventional heating. We labeled our samples as S1, S2, S3. We compared different structures, including the cold-shell structure, as I mentioned before, and also we established a homogeneous structure effect. Next, please. Next slide, please. We examined the reduction index of our pellets. We found that the cold-shelled iron ore biochar composite pellets under the microwave irradiation had the best reduction performance. We had the highest quality DRI for steel making. That's the great achievement. Next slide, please.
Okay.
Okay.
In turn, Chelyabinsk team was concentrated on theoretical part of investigation. Our main goal was to calculate effective permittivity and permittivity of mixture of iron ores and biochar, so that to take obtained values into account during simulation, electrodynamics and thermodynamics of microwave heating process. We used effective medium approach and one of many improvements of Bergman equation for effective permittivities and finite element method for calculation of Maxwell equation and field equation. The next slide. Okay. As a result, really the imaginary parts of effective permittivity and permeability on the right side of picture were calculated for a mixture of iron ore, biochar, and bentonite binder in various compositions and depending on properties of components such as conductivity of biochar because of various types of biochars existing. Taking into account these dependencies and controlling volume fraction of biochar or iron ore during pelletization process, it is possible to manufacture multi-layered pellet. The model of this pellet on the left, demonstrated on the left side, where permittivity will depend on radius. That allow us to achieve better surface impedance matching and optimize microwave-assisted iron ore reduction. The next one. On this slide, we can see results of electrodynamic simulation of microwave heating in single-mode waveguide. A left up picture, heating curve of pellet and spatial distribution of temperature inside the pellet during microwave heating at different time points, right side and middle side. Using scanning calorimetry, we investigated main chemical transitions during microwave heating. So composition of pellet changes with temperature. We calculated effective permittivities for these intermediate compositions and indirectly interpolated dependency of effective permittivity on temperature, so that to take into account influence of chemical transitions during microwave-assisted reduction process illustrated on the left bottom picture. The next slide. And eventually we prepared and reported our collaborative results in several publications, part of which presented on this slide. And the next. Okay, and sincerely thank for attention and financial support provided to both teams.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And our next speakers are Natalia Yudintseva from Institute of Cytology, Russian Academy of Science, and Yulia Gao, Sichuan University. Please, Natalia.
Thank you. Dear colleagues, the topic of our joint research project is application of tumor microenvironment responsive nanoparticles for brain tumor and brain metastasis theranostics. Development of novel agents for diagnostics and therapy of brain tumors represents one of the main trends in translational and clinical neuro-oncology. In our project, we aim to develop a tumor-specific nanoparticle for theranostic of brain tumor. Next slide, please. As a tumor-specific target, we applied heat shock protein HSP70. Well known that apart from its intercellular localization and extracellular space, HSP70 is specifically presented on the surface of plasma membrane of tumor, but not normal cells. Next slide, please. Previously, it was shown that HSP70 is expressed on the membrane of hematological and solid tumors, including malignant brain tumors. That is why HSP70 could be used as a tumor target for development of our novel strategies, particularly based on application of targeted gold nanoparticles. Next one. In collaboration with Professor Gao Kuli, we developed gold conjugates coated with monoclonal antibody that specifically recognize HSP70 on the tumor cell's membrane. Following our in vitro experiments where we demonstrated the specific uptake of particles by tumor cells, in vivo experiments, we proved the intratumoral accumulation of functionalized gold nanoparticles that increase contrast and enhancement of tumor memory carcinoma, colorectal cancer, when computer tomography was employed. Next one. Furthermore, gold nanoparticles can be used for diagnostic of the tumor. Thus, as shown on this slide, functionalized nanoparticles can be used for the optoacoustic imaging of the tumor, mammary carcinoma. Next one. On the other hand, gold nanoparticles can be used for the phototomol therapy. Thus, cells for T1 mammary carcinoma containing gold nanoparticles and being exposed to the laser irradiation demonstrated significant inhibition of growth. Next slide. The therapeutic effect of phototomol therapy was further proved in vivo in the model of the breast cancer. Following intravenous administration of functionalized HSP70 targeting nanoparticles, the tumors were exposed to the laser irradiation. In the treatment group, we demonstrated significant inhibition of tumor progression. As a conclusion, HSP70 represents a novel target for development of targeted nanoparticles therapy that could be further translated into clinical practice. With this, I pass the word to our collaborator, Professor Gao Huile. Thank you.
No.
With this pass, I vote to our collaborator, please.
Please allow me to share my screen. Yeah, okay. Okay, so thank you, Natalia. And my part is about to develop the agreeable nanoparticles, and Natalia's group developed some peptides to target the brain tumor, and then in our group we try to develop some agreeable nanoparticles to improve the intratumor distribution. As we know, the particle size influences the tumor penetration and retention, and the small size nanoparticles has good penetration but poor retention. Well, we increase the particle size, the retention is increased, but the penetration is decreased. So there is a contradiction if we want to achieve both high tumor penetration and good tumor retention. So in our group, we linked the golden nanoparticle with different linkers, and these linkers could respond to the enzyme in the tumor, and then they can form a click cycloaddition to conjugate the nanoparticles to each other, so the nanoparticle will agree, and the size will be increased. So after the aggregation, the retention of the nanoparticles in tumor is increased, and also when the nanoparticle aggregate in the tumor cells, they can block the exocytosis, so the retention in the tumor cell is also increased. So our nanoparticles could increase from about 30 nanometer to 300 nanometer. And after the increase, the distribution in the glioma is increased about twofold. So after we load with some chemotherapeutics, the anti-tumor effects will be improved. And also we use this kind of nanoparticles to deliver different kind of drugs. We can load two drugs onto the nanoparticles. One is doxorubicin to induce the tumor cell apoptosis, and another is HCQ to block the autophagy to reverse the resistance. And from the results, we could see, although we label two drugs onto the nanoparticles, these nanoparticles still have the property of aggregation, and they can increase the distribution in the tumor cells, and also in vivo we could find the distribution in tumor is increased and the anti-tumor effect is increased. And as when our group begins from 2020, so now it's still ongoing. And in the following 2 years, we will continue evaluate the brain targeting theranostic nanoparticles, and we will hold a bilateral online Russia-Chinese conference to strong our relationship and to make some communication. In the next year, I also will send a PhD students to match the group for the postdoc research. And our two group also have published several papers, and there are other papers that is proposed to be published. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now time of my colleagues, Jean Yang-Tao, please.
Thank you, Professor Tonovisky, my counterpart. Okay, thank you for nice talking from Professor Natalia and Professor Gou. Now let's continue to the next speakers from Brookings Maxim from Far East Geological Institute and Professor Zhao Chunliang from Hebei University of Engineering. Please.
Okay, wait a moment, please. Okay, Mr. Chairman, ladies and gentlemen, good morning for our Russian friend and good afternoon for our Chinese friend. It's a very great pleasure for me to be able to attend this meeting. First, please let me introduce our university, Hebei University of Engineering in Handan City, which is a famous cultural city with a history of more than 3,000 years in Hebei province. And welcome to Handan for academic exchange and visits. Today, I would like to do a short introduction on cooperation with Russian partner in recent years. First of all, please let me introduce our partner from Russia. As is shown in this slide, they are from Far Eastern Institute of Geology, Russian Academy of Science, Far Eastern Federal University, Tomsk Polytechnic University. We work with Maxim from RFFIG on the topic of extracting valuable trace elements from core flash, such as gallium, lithium, rare earth element. And we work with Professor Arbuzov work on arrangement mechanism of the associated valuable element in core, both in China and Russia. Following those projects and programs, we have carried out academic exchange and visits between the two sides every year in order to promote the development of this project. And due to the impact of the coronavirus in the past 2 years, we also organized online discussion regularly. Meanwhile, we also carry out field work on both sides to collect a lot of core samples from different core basins during the visiting. And those samples provide us a good data and a good foundation for our project. Next, and we will increase our effort on the sampling in different age of the core basin from Russia and China. We have co-organized associations in some international meetings, such as at the 20th Goldsmith meeting, we organized the rare element deposit associated with core workshop, and which greatly promote our further research. Based on those works in the early stage, we have joined applied for several projects, such as the project from NSFC and the National Science Foundation of Hebei Province. We have published our research papers in many top international journals, such as on Earth Science Reviews, Field, or Geology Reviews, Sphere, International Call Geology, and those results have attracted the interest of many international colleges. And we also welcome our scholars to communicate with us our results and the project. Besides the project and publications, we also organize the summer and winter campus for the students to improve their academic exchange experience. Those activities have great enhanced the friendship and exchanges between Russian and Chinese youth. Although we have got some achievement in earlier cooperation, but we think we need improve and increase the areas of our cooperation, such as first, the valuable metal from extraction and utilization technologies from the coal and the fly ash, and the second, welfare and their effect on the paleo environment, and second, the paleo environment and the paleo climate change in the past of the geological history. Here is the suggestion we list first, and we hope we need to carry out more cooperation, and second, we hope open special channels to the no famous university like us. That's all. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
So is your counterpart also give the speech? No?
No.
Professor? No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
So
Chairman.
let's move to the... Okay, sorry. Okay, let's move to the next speakers from Kuban State University, Professor Matthew Gulu, and Professor Chen Aili from Beijing Jiao Tong University. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Unfortunately, Dr. Ali Chen is not able to participate in our forum, so I will give a short talk about the results and about our cooperation. Next slide, please. So the start of this collaboration was in 2008 when several groups were meeting in Germany in the group of Professor Chuanzhen Zhang, who is also originally from China, and he is quite famous in the in many countries, in Russia, in China, in Germany. So that moment, two teams were visiting him, one group and several members from our university, from Kuban State University. And our group is related to numerical simulation, mostly to computational mechanics of wave propagation. And at the same moment, the Professor Yushin Wang from Beijing Jiao Tong University was also visiting the same group. And during many workshops and during our research stays, we discussed a lot of things. And the start of our cooperation was an introduction from Professor Wang from Beijing Jiaotong University, who showed us our some new perspectives, which were for our team were very new. And that moment, two postdocs, I think two second or third year postdocs, me and our partner, Dr. Ali Chen, were visiting this university, and we stayed for half of a year, and we discussed a lot of things. And this was the beginning, the start of initiation of our future cooperation. Next years, we're also meeting at some events and also visiting Zigin University and discussed numerical aspects of a simulation of wave propagation. So then we found an interesting topic which was related to computational problems, to numerical aspects, and to new materials. And we tried for the first time to apply for the funds, and it was failed. But we decided we should repeat, and it was successful next year. Next slide, please. So we concentrated on a new topic at that moment. This is so-called phononic crystal or acoustic metamaterials. At that moment, it seemed an interesting topic, mostly for theoretical studies. This area came from photonic crystals, which were at that moment already in the focus of scientific community. But it was not so easy to transfer optical phenomena to acoustics or to ultrasonics. So during the next years, we investigated wave propagation and some interesting phenomena in such a media like phononic crystals or acoustic metamaterials. Now they're quite famous. I think just a couple of words. These are periodic media composed of 2 or 3 different homogeneous parts usually, or they might be periodic organized voids, etc. They allow us to manipulate wave energy. So this was the main aim of our project, to start numerical investigation at that moment of wave propagation in such a media with periodic organization, and how can we manipulate wave energy and wave transfer through this periodic structure. The next slide, please. We concentrated on 2 main aspects at that moment. The first one was application of functionally graded materials, especially periodic piezoelectric structure, to change wave propagation through this structure. And the second topic was whether we can manipulate on site by the wave propagation if we include several electrodes inside the periodic structure, and whether it's possible to manipulate it quickly or not. The next one, please. So some main results of the project were that we were able to develop a semi-analytical method which is numerically stable compared to the methods which were available at that moment. And we used this method as a tool to propose an extended classification of band gaps and pass bands for phononic crystals, which was not common at that moment. So on the right side of the slide, one can see 2 figures showing how it works in a simple, as a simple example. On the right side, on the top, one can see how wave packet may transfer through the periodic structure when we excite excite waves with a spectrum which lays in the passband. Otherwise, if we change the central frequency of the signal to the frequency which lays within bandgap, then we cannot penetrate the structure. But in this case, this might be called a passive manipulation because we fix the structure and we cannot change it anymore. The next slide, please. So the next step was to check what can we do if we include the electrodes. The next slide, please. On the left side, one can see transmission coefficient, which is usually used to show wave transmission through the periodic structure. And if we introduce electrodes inside the phononic crystal, we can delete band gaps, which might be useful in some cases, but unfortunately we cannot manipulate it strongly, or we cannot add some band gaps, which is usually important for practical applications. Another result was investigation of nanoscale effect. We found some theoretical interesting effects, which is shown on the right side. If we have, if we take into account this nanoscale size effect, then we can shift slightly passband and band gaps as well. But unfortunately, we cannot change it more. The next one, please. So that moment, these were the results of theoretical studies. But the next years, after the end of our project funding, we enjoyed a lot of our discussions and visiting both universities, both countries. But this was important for our next studies. Next years, we started to concentrate more on practical applications, on theoretical studies. So on the right side, I can see that we are now developing system for manufacturing of such phononic crystals, and we are now starting some projects which are related to experimental validation of our results and also to manufacturing of such studies. And once more, this collaboration helped us also to find new partners in China. At the moment, we have also started a new project in Qingdao University with our mathematical partners from these universities. And also, I would like to thank both funds for helping us. And as another example of this successful collaboration was that our Chinese partners helped me to get a Humboldt Foundation scholarship, thanks to Professor Wang, who was an expert of this proposal. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much for wonderful presentations. Is there any words from Chinese side? Counterpart? No. Okay, thank you very much. The next and the last presentations in this session is from Professor Popova Svitlana from Komorov Botanical Institute of Russia Academy of Sciences, and Professor Xing Yao Wu from Xishuangbanna Tropical Botanical Garden of Chinese Academy of Sciences.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It's my great honor to be here and introduce our project. So today I will briefly introduce the background of our collaboration, and my partner Lena made a video to show more results. So my name is Yao Wuxing. I come from the largest and most beautiful botanical garden in China, the Xishuangbanna Tropical Botanical Garden. Today we are living in a colorful and blooming world. There are over 300,000 flowering plants on the planet. My research is trying to answer why there are there so many flowering plants on the planet, and when and how did they form? Fossils play a crucial role in understanding the evolution of the biodiversity. Fossils tell us what plants live in the past in a particular time, and also fossils recorded the climate signal of the past. Fossils not only can tell the past of the planet, but also the present and the future. In the past 500 million years, our planet experienced 5 mass extinction events. But now, we human beings are probably experiencing the 6th mass extinction. So understanding the relationship, the past biodiversity and the responses to the climate change probably may help people to prevent the 6th mass extinction. In the past few years, I tried to build a global database to understand the past biodiversity. So after a few years' effort, I managed to collect information of over 1,000 fossil sites across the world, but very little from Russia and Central Asia. But this situation has been changed since I met my collaborator, Dr. Svetlana Popova. So, this is not because there's no people working on fossil plants in Russia. In fact, Russia has a very long history and even very glorious history in studying plant fossils. This is just simply because I cannot read the Russian literature. So I really appreciate the support of the NSFC and the RFBR grants. With the support of the grants, so we managed to add over 200 fossil sites into my database. And we also studied 3 new fossil floras from Central Asia. So I believe our study will enhance our understanding of past biodiversity and their response to climate change. Now I will leave time to my partner, Lana. She made a video to show some results of our study. Thanks for your attention.
Dear friend, dear colleague and organizing committee, I would like to thank you for such a nice opportunity to present my talk dedicated to such nice event. Our long-term cooperation counts more than 20 years and dealing with investigation of the different aspects of fossil plant remains. It is well known that in the geological past, the Earth was different in respect to position of the continents, CO2 concentration, and other environmental factors, which are crucial when we talk about the evolution of plants. Fossil floras and their K taxa, which we found in fossil state on the territory of Central Asia, mainly has modern distribution in China and less in North America. In particular, here the sample of typical members of Turgai forest, which was dominated in early Cenozoic time, and not presented in such combination in the modern flora anymore. The results of this cooperation was published more than as 15 papers and also monographically studied key taxa of paleofloras of different areas and ages. Current cooperation about which my project partner has already briefly told is with key laboratory of Sichuanbano Tropical Botanical Garden, Yunnan Province. The main goal of the project was studying how developed the paleoflora of Central Asia during Paleogene-Neogene border. Studying the new fossil plant collection led us to trace migration way and how it evolved the flora under paleo-environmental changes. Results of these two projects were published in high-rating magazine and presented in 2 international conferences and 1 online conference. Summarizing up, I would like to say that this cooperation led us better understand the evolution of paleoflora and key taxa of Central Asia through the time and space. But also, we had the chance to get more knowledge about Chinese culture, biogeographical features, and modern flora of different areas, and this promising result let us hope for the continuation of such productive cooperation. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your excellent speeches. The sessions on promising young scientists presentations now finished. So it's time for a coffee break. I want to thank all of you for your contributions for this session. Also, I thank my counterpart, Professor Toniewski. Thank you very much for your cooperation. I want to discuss with you. We have a little bit delay, so we still have 10 minutes break.
Okay, we agree 10 minutes break.
So 10 minutes break.
Okay,
we will come back at 4:05 in Beijing time.
Yes. Okay, thank you. 10 minutes break. And we share our question between Russian part and Chinese part, and 3 questions from our side. First, I ask our young colleagues or scientists to introduce yourself. Second question, very interesting for us to know pluses of this scientific cooperation, especially between our countries. And third one, will be interesting for us to know maybe some minuses, which we call some problems or some obstacles, which we try to solve using our conference. And we start probably with our part. Please, we have 3 Russian scientists who nominate from our committee through the some competition between grants and projects in our agency. We start with you. Да.
My name is Zadorozhny Vladislav. I am from the National University of Nastmisist. Now we are here in Nastmisist. And initially I'm from Orenburg region. It's in the border of the Asia and Europe. And as for this collaboration project, I would like kindly thanks the Chinese Foundation and Russian Foundation for Basic Research to give us opportunity to provide such kind of collaboration between China laboratory and Russian laboratory. And I would like kindly thanks my colleague, Professor Wang, with whom we work in Tohoku University 10 years ago for 3 or 2 years together. And after this collaboration in Tohoku, we go to our countries. I went to Russia, he went to China, and this project gives us chance to collaborate together once again. And it's a very good idea, I think, to such kind of project collaboration, because we still have some chance to change with our ideas, to think about our future scientific ideas and so on, and provide some experiments together and discuss its results of these experiments and so on. And it's very good opportunity to, improve our scientific results with working such kind of collaboration way. As for the minus of such collaboration, we have maybe one of the biggest problem of this collaboration is very bad some exchange with the materials between 2 laboratories in China and Russia, because it's a very big problem to send some, for example, composite materials or metals to China laboratory or to send it from China to Russia. I think it was one of the biggest problem of such kind of collaboration. But I have no any problem with the language and so on. Almost everything was very good. And my visit to China was also very nice, because I have been in China in 2014 and then I have been in China in 2019, and I really see very high improvement of the country, and it was very good experience for me. I interact with the laboratory of Chinese colleagues, see all the equipment, all the opportunity and so on. And this is all. Thank you very much. Maybe I forgot something to say, I don't know.
Oh, okay. What is the best way? We now give the questions to your colleagues and one-to-one, or we can continue from our side. What do you think? What is the best way?
Well, I think all the Russian scientists, researchers completed their issues and that by Chinese ones.
Okay, thank you very much. It's a good idea. And now we continue. And next person in our group, first of all, thank you very much to Vladislav, and we remember him about his very interesting and very impressive presentation today. But now new person in our group, Taisia Gens. She is from Moscow State University Physical Department. Please, Taisia.
Okay, thank you. Hello, friends. Hello, colleagues. Yes, I am Taisia Gens, and I am from the physics faculty of MSU University. Now I work in terahertz optoelectronics and spectroscopy laboratory together with graduate students Maria Konnikova. We can see her here because she is ill, but I think she see us with internet. And let me tell you something about our field of working. Now we have a project with Chinese colleagues. This project is about terahertz spectroscopy about of rat's plasma, which is will oncology problems, and now we have to finish a big part of our work, and I think we will present you some results in maybe in some time. Okay. I'm sorry. And what about positive sides of our international community? I think all of kinds of international community is good because of we have a lot of sites which we could which we could exchange. I think that exchange of students is a really good idea, and I think we will continue to do students exchange. What about minuses? I don't know, but maybe. I have never been in China, unfortunately, but I think it is very far, but it is a very small minus, and I hope we will see you as soon as possible, maybe. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Maybe we have chance to invite Maria Konnikova.
Konnikova, yes.
Konnikova by internet now. She's in our list. Do we have contact with her? Maria.
Yeah,
yeah.
we can hear the
Okay, nice. I can talk about me some words. Firstly, good afternoon, dear colleagues. My name is Maria Konnikova, and now I'm a postgraduate student at the Faculty of Physics of Moscow State University, and a junior researcher at Elite RAS. And at the moment, my scientific activity is focused on studying the properties of the viral S protein using terahertz, ER, and Raman spectroscopy. And our research is aimed at studying the adhesion properties of SARS-CoV-2 virus on various surfaces, as well as describing the adhesion mechanisms. And in addition, with our Chinese colleagues, we study brain tumors using the same methods. About international cooperation, I think, in my opinion, the main advantage of international cooperation is the establishment of contrast, which expands research opportunities. Of course, science should be open so that one can freely absorb the results of foreign colleagues. I can give you the last example of interaction with the Chinese colleagues. Together, we study brain tumors using spectroscopy methods, using plasmonics method. And China is a leader in the development and design some plasmonic sensors, while we have the ability to produce high quality metabolites and describe the results from a foundational point of view. About some difficulties in our areas, scientific areas, personally, I have not announced difficulties, and moreover, we recently published the review with our Chinese colleagues. When writing the review, it was decided to distribute by chapter for each scientist, and the very first results came from Chinese colleagues, with indicates their good discipline. I think that's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. What do you think about languages? For example, if we speak about Europe, quite often, especially in Germany funds, they give additional time and money, let's say 6 months or 1 year for Russian scientists and vice versa, to study Germans. Maybe now it's a good time to thinking about it for us too. Maybe it will be useful or important for us, especially for young scientists, to study Chinese language. And maybe it will be additional proof for cooperation, for better understand not only scientific, but also civil life or, let's say, culture and so on. What is your personal opinion? I don't know how it's difficult, first of all, but maybe if we concentrate for that and give additional attention, time, and money, maybe we can prove our really warm and fruitful relationship between laboratories. Maria, it's a question to you.
Okay. I think that's it's a nice idea, but I would understand the Chinese colleagues, and I think it is important for future achievements in our scientific results.
Okay, thank you very much. Vladislav, maybe you give
Thank you very much for these questions. And I would like to say that I have some experience. I work in Austria about 2 years, and I haven't no any problem with the languages, because in the scientific field, in scientific area, laboratory, all people speak in English very good. I think in Austria or Germany, people speak English better than I speak English here. Also, I work in Japan about 3 or 4 years. Also, there was no any problem with the languages, and all people speak in English in a good way. But for lifestyle, maybe for collaboration, if you live abroad, in Austria, China, or Japan, maybe better to know the initial language of the citizen who live inside. And I have been in China two times, so what I already told before. And in laboratory in China, all people very good speaking English. Even students, master students, bachelor students, all of them try to speak English and try to speak it's not so bad, very good, yes. But if you go outside, for example, for market or something like this, it's very important to know initial language of the people who live there. This is my opinion about it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you very much. And now maybe my colleague Zhang Yangtao help me to introduce our Chinese colleagues and friends from your side. Of course, I have the list of the name, but maybe it's easy for you to help me and introduce your colleagues.
Oh, yes. Well, I would not introduce one by one, but by Chinese colleagues themselves, because they have, well, we all sit on the first row, and starting from, I'm not able to see the name of it. Oh, okay, go ahead, please.
So, hello, everyone.
We'll hear you.
Okay. So my name is Hong Guang Sun from Hohai University. My research interests include environmental fluid mechanics and underground water dynamics. So from my cooperation with Professor Renat, I think this cooperation benefits us a lot. For example, because my research is about solution transport in complex media, and Professor Renat, his research about continuous time random walk, more like in the physics, and also fractional differential equation models is more related to the mathematics. So the combination of our two sides have make, I think, a lot of new results in our research field. Also, I think this collaboration is very good for students. Exactly, I think for the PhD students. So in last 2 years, we have face-to-face discussions with our partner. Also, our students have learned a lot about the mathematical model, physical theory. So I think this cooperation has benefits both for our researcher and also our students. So I think in our discussion, we also talk about some obstacles in cooperation. I think the language and is not an obstacle, because in your way we use English. So I think the main difference is the culture. For example, when we visit Russia, we have different kind of food and also different kind of culture, but it is okay, because for our research, we want to find something different. So I think it's a very good influence for our cooperation. So I hope in the future we can continue our cooperation for long time research, because our research is more like the theoretical research and the numerical simulation. Without long-time cooperation, the valuable work cannot be achieved. So we hope this cooperation can be continue. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your well, self-introduction and your feeling about the collaboration and your experience and working with your Russian collaborators. Well, I do think that perhaps different people have different feeling about what they have gone through. I mean, the joint collaboration with international collaborators, and so that's why we are right here to exchange idea. In particular, we better reveal some problems and the difficulties and the challenges that we are having today, and we'll just make discussion on how to tackle those the difficulty, and so that we can make our collaborator even much better than before. So back to you, Dr. Dr. Tanisky. Okay, so do you have something to comment on the Chinese colleagues' feeling about their work? Or if not, and we can continue to move to the next.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, probably we continue, and we have some question in the end of your group. Maybe we discuss.
All right.
After.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. My name is Junqiang Wang from Ningbo Institute of Materials Technology and Engineering. I'm very happy and honored to be present in this memory ceremony. So actually, I think the most important beneficial from this joint project is I get to know many experts working in Moscow in the National University of Science and Technology. But I know Vlad Vladislav 11 years ago when we worked in Tokyo University as a postdoc, and we also experienced the big earthquake in Sendai. So that's a good memory, I think, now, because we experienced a lot of things during that time. And I have visited Moscow 2 times. The first I visited there in 2012, and the second time I visited in 2018. And Moscow is a very beautiful city, with especially the Red Square is very is great, and I'm impressed by the beautiful buildings, and especially the people there are very kind. And also I'm impressed by the very deep subway in Moscow. It's very deep, and I take the elevator for maybe 1 minute to get down. But about the Chinese language, I have a memory that when we walking around in the Red Square, a policeman come to me and my family, and he spoke Chinese. I'm surprised, and he told me his daughter is learning Chinese, and he also want to learn the Chinese. So we speak for some time, and I think the communication between China and between Russia will facilitate the development of the culture and also the science and technology. So I think the joint project is very useful, especially that I learned some advanced technologies in Russian. For example, I work on metals, like we call it metallic glass or amorphous alloys. And one technology, we call it ball milling, that we use some balls to mill, to break the large samples into powders. Vlad is an expert on this technology, and he teach me a lot, maybe some secrets for them to get off the powders from the balls. I think yes, some kind of such how to say, such technologies we can exchange our experiences, and we have a lot of things to do together in future. So in the last slide, we showed we want to work together to do some fascinating work about science, technology, and also art, because we work on conventional fields like the LOS is a very old topic, but we can work together to find some new, some interesting topic or applications on this material. So that's all. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Wang. And you have something to share with us, Dr. Xu.
Okay, thanks. And yeah, my name is Yao Xin, and I come from Xishuangbanna. So Xishuangbanna is located in the south corner of Yunnan province. So if you probably know, Yunnan province harbors, half of the biodiversity of China. There are over 15,000 plant species in Yunnan, so it's a wonderful place to study and the evolution of plant diversity. So, in fact, so as I mentioned in my talk, I really appreciate the support of the NSFC and the RFBR grants. So yes, so as I carefully checked the schedule of our talks, and I feel I'm very lucky because probably we are the only talk working on the basic research, and all the other studies about applied research. So that's probably my first suggestion. I'm wondering if we can, in the future, probably more support on the basic research. Yeah. So that's a long debate on whether we should support more on basic research, but still I think it's the basis for innovation, right? And also, and a language for me, but for communication is no problem. We can all speak English, but as a botanist, I mentioned in my talk, there's in fact, Russia has a very long history on botany. Komarov Botanical Institute was the second largest botanical institute in the world, and it has the second largest herbarium in the world, probably 20 years ago. But now, I visited there for several times. I have to say, it's a bit sad to say, it has the largest greenhouse probably I ever seen in the world. They have all the plants in the greenhouse. You can work several hours in the greenhouse, but now it's quite old, and then so many species, no one take care of them. It's very sad. So I'm wondering if one day if we can set some actually like a bigger project. You might not know, in 1950s, China and Russia, we have a very big expedition in Yunnan. Probably 1/4 of specimens were collected by Chinese-Russian expedition that time. But now we see very little cooperation between China and Russia in botany. It's a little bit sad. So that's my second question. Director Zhou already mentioned the support increase over the last few years, but for such big project, probably still not enough. That's my second suggestion. And my third opinion suggestion is a Russian friend already mentioned, the exchange of students. I think this is really important. We need to know each other, especially for young scientists. I told my collaborators many times, I really want to have a Russian PhD student, but it's very difficult. So I'm wondering if probably not very long term, but even short time exchange will be very helpful. Okay, I just have these three suggestions. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much to Xing, and we move to the other Dr. Gong.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. I'm Hui Le Gao from Sichuan University. And maybe some people don't know Sichuan, but I think most people know Chengdu because of the hotpot and especially because of the panda. Because Chengdu is the home of panda. And actually, I and my collaborator Maxim, we have same research interest. And when I guess I did some issue about the tumor microenvironment, and I invited Maxim to contribute a review on the targeting drug delivery, so we then know each other and we communicate very oftenly, and finally we try to apply the bilateral fundings, and finally we actually we applied several times and we get until 2019 we got the funding, and you know the COVID 2019 comes, so we don't have any chance to visiting each other, and now most communication are online. So I think one big problem for this funding is the communication. You know, the online communication could not change our idea very very efficiently. So I think it is better if, when the situation is better, we can visiting each other, and we during the research we also face some small problems, such as try to deliver some compounds to each other. You know, for our research, we need, for example, deliver some compounds to Russia, but actually, it's very hard for us to provide some certification to the delivery companies. So we have to find some students. The students maybe travel from China to Russia, and they can take the compounds by themselves. So okay, and okay, this is a small problem, and thank you very much. Yeah. Oh, that's all.
All right. Thank you, Dr. for sharing some idea with us. And in fact, just quick words about Chinese researchers' focus. Well, first, I think they perhaps have such kind of expectation that RFBR and NSFC in the coming years will should pay more attention to the basic research. I do agree with that, but it's totally dependent on the definition of basic research, because perhaps different ideas on the definition of that. But nowadays, we all know that we have not only the funding for very fundamental research, but also from what I know about the current situation, is that more and more resources are going to some disciplines like mission-oriented research, and for social and economic progress, and even for national needs. So which also we have to pay much attention to, because we have to figure out what kind of key scientific problem behind the real world, like national needs and the social economic progress. So I think for the general concept about the idea of basic research, not only include some very fundamental discipline like mathematics, physics, chemistry, biology, but also include something like energy, climate change, and the nexus among the water, land, energy, etc. So in fact, the booming area like info communication, the information sciences, it involves not only the knowledge of physics, photonics, but also material sciences, and even something about the sociologies, let's say. So that's why NSFC is carrying out the reform, which focuses on one of the important things about the support for interdisciplinary research. But today, I think we have talked a lot about the RFBI, NSFC, and even the Russia and China science cooperation in the future. And we have talked something about language. We have talked about something about culture and student exchange. All of this, I think, should be the thing that RFBI and NSFC, I suggest that we have to pay attention for the future if we want to bridge more and more researchers, in particular those young researchers, to make them know each other so that they could lay a rather sound foundation for their in-depth collaboration in the years to come. So that is, I think, the one of the important things that the Chinese researchers in the meeting today present. And I don't know if there's anyone from Chinese side who wants to share something more. If not, and I will give floor to Dr. Tansky. Back to you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I completely agree with you that we can really check all the direction or all the topics and put on the table for discussion, not only basic science, but also some new, and completely agree with you, new interesting idea which deeply connect with our national interest and interest of our economics. One. But if come back to our meeting, question about scientists, young scientists, students, probably we maybe organized special part in running project, and maybe 20%, 30% scientists will be student, one story. Or maybe prepare special call for age 23, 25 minus. Or also important for me to discuss the time, what your colleagues stress, the time of the project, or duration of the project. Maybe interesting or how to say, very important, we can support not only for 2, 3 years, 5 years, 7 years, if we're sure that it's important and we put together serious, interesting institutes, group, and scientists. Plus, also maybe discussed and to have recommendation from our colleagues about budget, what is a right way to use the money, more for traveling, more for consumables, thinking for, let's say, some equipment and so on. Or maybe to have, like we call it, mirror lab, equal lab from the both country, which help us to use the same technology, same ideas, same, just accelerate the result for our cooperation. Probably later we have chance to speak with academician Panchenko, who will be with us, and maybe we have to prepare a memorandum using the idea of our colleagues. And don't forget about age of the scientist, duration of the project, budget and topics and so on. But in this case, maybe thinking about new interesting call and to start to find the right partnership between our scientists in new direction, like sociology, climate change, and so on, which you mentioned in your proposal. I think it will be definitely in the final paper of our discussion. But now follow our program, maybe question from your side to my colleagues, what I have in my paper. Есть же там?
Well, I think according to the agenda, well, we are actually just finished the panel discussion, and if I may say that, and we will go to the closing remarks and initiated by Dr. Panchenko and followed by Dr. Jinghai Li.
Владислав Яковлевич,
right?
You are here.
Yes, I'm here. I'm ready. Hello. Okay.
Да.
Esteemed participants and guests of the Jubilee Forum, on behalf of the organizers, I would like to express my gratitude to all of you who have come and took part in the program for your cooperation, which enabled us to conduct a highly fruitful meeting. The purpose of our meeting was to take a retrospective view at the 25-year-long history of the cooperation between two leading research funding agencies of Russia and China, Russian Foundation for Basic Research and National Science Foundation of China. We have tried to estimate the major result to see how useful it happened to be for the both sides in the past and will be in the future. We had a general discussion of these issues, a large number of interesting reports of joint research activities. It highlights initiatives involved in coordinated research can overcome problems, lead us to a search for a foreign partners, to both purposes. РФБР, Russian Foundation, РФБР, Russian Foundation for National Science Foundation of China promote a good number of Sino-Russian collaborative partnerships with grant money on the basis of our respective state interests. However, science is much more sophisticated subject. The needs of science is something that funding agency must be made to understand. Whether this is only a deal based on money support or a more complicated activity of enhancing openness, academic freedom, excitement, transparency, and integrity. When we delay such issue at the forum, the participants represent a rather coherent community with interest and understanding of science. It's very important that we do not just fulfill legal documents, РФБР and SFC cooperation agreement, but also look at what we need to do to earn recognition from our governments, appreciated of innovation-hungry industry, and more generally acknowledgement of society. It's my hope that based on the online relations established by this meeting, in the future we will be in a position to respond together to more urgent issues that we have in common and achieve our common objectives, taking this opportunity, I would like to explore our following additional options for our future cooperation with the National Science Foundation of China. First, there are some fields of fundamental science, like computer science, information technology, engineering science, which has a rich and highly demanded new knowledge. There is a need for close cooperation of Russia Foundation of Basic Research and National Science Foundation of China participation in the international multilateral programs and organizations, like we do demonstrate now in case of BRICS. I believe our two organizations are very active and make a remarkable input inside diplomacy at the national levels, but we are able to perform a role together, say in Asia and Far East, helping to solve some regional challenges concerning our two countries also. I can't help but touch on the key issue of one more sphere of our possible future cooperation, dealing with the scientific information sciences. Russia Foundation of Basic Research and National Science Foundation of China obtain, collect, and distribute inland and abroad. I mean to develop the technology, for example, big data, artificial intellect, and so on. The current change in the global innovation landscape and geopolitical environment have created an important strategic opportunity for a close collaboration between Russia and China as scholars. 2021 is intended to be a start of a new phase of it because of the year of Russian-Chinese scientific, technical, and innovation cooperation. This collaboration will depend on you who formed this forum. Our forum presents a very good opportunity for you. Russian Foundation for Basic Research and National Science Foundation of China will do their utmost to make this expectation come through. Thank you very much for your work, for your participation in this Congress. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Panchenko's remarks. You, in fact, have touched a lot of issues, in particular with the expectations for RFBI and NSFC, future collaboration. Thank you for that. And now I would like to invite Dr. Jinghai Li, NSFC President, to give closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Professor Panchenko, for your closing remarks. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it has been 3 days of interesting exchanges and sustainable discussion. I would like to extend my gratification and congratulations to all of participants for your important contribution. I'm sure this joint forum will be remembered as a milestone in Sino-Russia science cooperation. Thank you very much. As we all know, this year marks the 25th anniversary of the official partnership, as well as friendship between NSFC and RFBR. Over the past 25 years, we have maintained good communication and close exchanges, both at the senior and working levels, with extensive cooperation in policies, strategies, and projects oriented to the international research community and issues of common interest to both countries. This forum is not only a celebration of the long-standing close relationship between our two founding agencies, but also an event of academic exchange for the scientific communities of China and Russia. During today's and yesterday's, we have witnessed the outstanding achievement by our scholars through your presentations, highlighting the impact these calibrations between have had our Chinese-Russia societies and the world as a whole. We have also looked towards our future and deliberated how to achieve better results for our cooperation. In the years to come, it is of even great significance to deepen bilateral cooperation, advising the joint development of basic science and promoting the cultivation and the mobilization of international innovative talents in both countries. In the face of the COVID-19 pandemic and in a world experiencing also tremendous changes unseen before in recent human history, it is our responsibility as major national fathers to join our forces to address these common global challenges and respond to the corresponding paradigm shift in science. These global challenges require our joint actions of both fathers and the scientists. It is a mission for NSFC and RFBR must embark up and be delegated to with the backing of respective research communities in both countries without question. Last but not least, I also like to avail myself of these opportunities to extend our sincere gratitude to our participants here, to my good friend, Professor Pantinker. I always enjoy meeting with you and talking with you, our common interests. To our long-lasting partner, RFBR, and to all the staff who have worked very hard for the organization of this great forum. And thank you, and looking forward to meeting you soon again, and possibly in Beijing, and hopefully in Moscow. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Jinghai Li, for your closing remarks. And I think Dr. Pan Jinko and Dr. Li's closing remarks are very encouraging, and not only to the Russia scientists and their Chinese collaborators, but more importantly to the two science founders. If we look ahead and your hope and your closing remarks, in fact, share bright light for the prosperity of the bilateral relation between the two science funding agencies. And I do believe that by working closely together in the years to come, we will deliver better service for the researchers from Russia and China. So by taking this opportunity, and I would like to thank our Russia colleagues in RFBI and also the Russia scientists who joined this forum, and also my sincere appreciations will be given to Chinese scientists, the young researchers right here. And I do hope that we could make some even further discussions on the working level with some staff like Dr. Tony Whiskey on how to make our collaboration even more substantive and effective for both sides. So thank you very much, and hope everybody got some fruitful benefits from this forum, and I hope to see you next time. Thank you. Now, if I may, I will declare the closure of the forum for the young scientists from Russia and China. Thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Professor Pan Jingke and all Russian scientists, we will be waiting for you to come to Beijing. Yeah.
Okay.
So we can.
As soon as possible, will be. Thank you very much, Shanghai. Thank you very much for your invitation. As soon as possible, but this possibility depends not on me.
So let's expect. Looking forward.
Yeah. Bye. Thank you very much. Thank you indeed.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.